Hello everyone, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel, and it is time for video 3 of Yearly Favourites Week 2019 as I bring you my top 25 EPs in bass music from the last 12 months. Another huge year for EPs in bass music, especially once again in comparison to the albums. Certainly, I think, the more impactful kind of project in bass music, the EP, and over a vast wealth of genres as well, a lot of which are represented here, and I'm excited to go through this list. As per a couple of rules to run through, one entry per producer or label, short compilations are allowed for this video, and you can have your own EP and be part of a label one. At least 3 songs to constitute as an EP, not having doubles, and also I think they should be at least 6 or 7 minutes long, I'm saying. Like the albums video, there are a few that could go either way, EP or album, but I'm trying to go off what the artist calls their own collection. Gonna quickly show you these special mentions to begin with, then work downwards from 25 to number 1, talking about them more as I go on. Lastly, before we get going here, I've mentioned this already this week, but I have to say it again. This is solely one opinion, my opinion. I'm not giving any objective views here. It's about how they make me feel, you know, my favourites of the year, the ones that I've enjoyed most out of the hundreds that I've heard in 2019. So feel free to voice your thoughts on all of my opinions in the comments down below, but also give your favourites of the year, you know, your favourite EPs in bass music from this year, which I find to be the best part, the conversation. Let's get it going. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time we got cracking on with this list. And we start, of course, with the special mentions for the best EPs of 2019. Just gonna leave this screenshot right here. Yep, give it a good look, pause the screen, take a screenshot, whatever. In bold is the producer, and in italics is the title of the EP. Okay, and now number 25. And at number 25 we have Fubar by Saruda, a project I'm surprised hasn't been called an album, with it being 9 tracks and over half an hour long, but take it as it is, I'm happy to place it here. Quite possibly the weirdest, quirkiest listen I've had all year, but also up there with the deepest and best constructed I've heard as well. Really like the way that each tune kind of flows into the next one here. Continuous and lovely. Next up, number 24, we have someone or a group of people, I don't even know, who I heard about for the first time with this EP. Quite the introduction, I'll tell you that much. Little Snake with Lost in Spirals. Super glitchy, sinewy, blinding, in your face, delicate, detailed, otherworldly, experimental trap sort of music. One of those you struggle to get your head around, I'll tell you that much. Not many will have heard this EP, but such a big recommend. Coming in at number 23, we have the latest EP from someone who had a huge year, IO with Acid 444. Basically, if you enjoy booming, big room, tech house kind of music, then this is probably the best you'll hear this year, and at the moment, in mainstream bass music at least. As a bonus, has a beautiful acidic tinge to it, owing to its name of course. Takes a short while to get going, but ends up pretty brilliant. A huge recommend for all lovers of bass music. Following on from there, number 22, we have the first EP of this year from Peekaboo, Wrecking Ball, once again showing himself to be the current king when it comes to blends of freeform, trap and dub. Nothing on his EPs of last year, in my opinion, in terms of atmosphere, the worlds he created with those projects, but still a very good outlay of his sound. And even though I don't like it as much, I still find it pretty fucking great, which shows you just how high a standard he set. Then at number 21, we have one of the best returns of the year in Moody Good with Goofball, easily up there with the most riveting, seizure-inducing projects I heard all year, the way it rattles throughout your mind for its duration. A lot of the percussion I'm not big on at all. A couple of the drop sections I think go on for too long, but the sheer gripping nature of a vast majority of the main sounds we get here makes it a dead cert for the top 25. Rolling in at number 20, one of my favourite D&B EPs of the year, in a year where I went much deeper in my exploration of the genre, So there is a lot of good to be said about this one here. It's Cellular by Data 3. Some of the tunes here are more impactful than others. I think about Cellular, the title track, and its instrumental edit, Trick City, for example, but the others also have really emphatic elements to them, making it a very engaging EP overall. So much of the production is very finely done, and across the course of the collection, it's very aware of its progression, the peaks and troughs it goes through, a lot of the atmosphere on point as well, and I would have to say bereft of many blemishes, to be honest. At number 19, another producer I hadn't heard of until this year, and super happy that this collection got its place on a label and was made known to the bass public. Properly heavy melodic vibes. It's Sharks with Maelstrom. Basically, if you enjoy Virtual Riot, Xylent, Chime, Asora, Oliverse, that kind of producer, then you really will love this EP. I can almost guarantee you that. Vocals, melodies, drops, particular sounds, so much going for it. And when you take this project into account, the Modus album as well, a couple of other releases from Rushdown this year, we'll look back, I think, on 2019 as a catalyst for melodic dubstep music, and this project will have had a big say. Okay, number 18, an EP that came out right at the beginning of the year in January, which I enjoyed a lot, instantly as well, and which I've kept enjoying over the course of the year. Negleria by Signs. Deep, guttural, down-to-earth, gritty, down-tempo and neuro-y kind of music here. Incredible moods established in these tracks and across the project overall. One that for the most part really knows what it's good for, with some really emphatic ideas on show as well, hitting the right spots in their delivery and execution, like a load of warm and welcomed punches in the stomach, if that is such a thing. That is how I would describe it. Moving on from there, the Big 1-7, something I've mentioned a couple of times before, an EP I've changed my mind about somewhat since it came out in March, realising more over the course of the year, a little bit more what it's best for. Rotten Roll Part 2 by Zomboy. When it comes down to it, there is a lot of good material here, a couple of really strong ideas on show, it's really well produced for the most part, and there are some of the best vocals that he's had on his music for a fair while, in my opinion. The overriding feeling, though, is still how much he's fallen over the years in terms of his ideas for the most part, but still have to appreciate the amount of good we get, as I said, and it speaks volumes, I think, for the standard that he's set more than anything. After that, number 16. Now, I mentioned this in the albums video with Emperor and his Monuman alias, but it's rare that someone adopts a completely new moniker and comes out with such a statement-making first project. But that is what we get from Halogenics and his new alias Lord Del, and the EP is called Halogenics Presents Lord L. If you like earthy, grisly beats with a bit of a swing and swagger to them, similar to someone like Chi, for example, but laced with a bit more emotion, feeling and atmosphere, then this is a full recommend for you. I love the sonic definition throughout here. Pretty much all of it really hits a sweet spot, and that's what you want with voluminous, deep, wub-filled bangers. Really submerses you, and I love it for that. Next up, number 15, an EP that came out super late in the year, only around a couple of weeks ago, but which certainly has enough to it to have left a real mark on me already in that short amount of time. Tangential Zones by G. Jones. A massive range of influences on show here in terms of genre and style, really musically on point as well in pretty much every tune. Love the sense of story to it, the way he guides you through the project, the energy of it as well. Just wish it had been released earlier in the year. I think I'll get more out of it as I listen to it again and again, but I would have enjoyed it even more had it been put out earlier. But then it probably wouldn't be this good if he had released it earlier. So there you go. At number 14, my favourite D&B EP of the year. I found it quite hard to get into D&B projects as wholes this year, not giving off quite enough in their ideas generally, I would have to say. But this one was my undoubted favourite, Dreams and Circuits by Red Pill. Full of aggression, purpose, intricacy, verve, emotion and drive. It's pretty full on, but very easy to get into and ride along with, supplying one hit after another of super riveting, unapologetic drum and bass music, with a really nice tinge of euphoria to it as well. Only 3 tracks here, but very compact in its nature, and that is what makes it so good. Each tune is really striking stuff. So yeah, as a collection, pretty gripping. On that note, number 13, another 3-part EP here. If something is 3 tracks long, then all 3 tunes have to have something really going for them. Otherwise, it's just a double effectively if one of them falls flat. But this EP definitely does have 3 tunes firing on all cylinders. Die Laughing by Bad Rapper. I can't lie, I didn't expect to like this one at all, but it's very, very good. Just about edging Red Pill, some of the finest hybrid trap and outright gnarly dubstep I've heard all year. In particular, the opener to 100, one of my favourite tracks all year. One of those collections that I think may fall by the wayside and be forgotten, cause he isn't huge yet, but trust me when I say this will be the best 3-part EP you hear this year, if you are yet to. At number 12, now some EPs just leave such an impression on you through their delivery, hanging and looming above you, letting their essence seep into your very being as it subsumes you. One of those is Vanta by Eugene. This has to be one of the spookiest, most unnerving listens I've had in recent memory. In a good way, of course, the use of atmosphere and seriously dark production to put its stamp on you, not matched by many, if any, this year. So deep, all-encompassing, mysterious, the integration of vocals as well to embellish all of that, along with a lot of the production being really weighty, crisp and full. Super unique as well. I think you could bring certain producers together to create this EP, but no one else doing stuff quite like this on their own. Really impressive and so excited for where he goes next. Onwards from there, number 11, someone who made a massive impact in dubstep music this year, emerging from the underground with a wealth of attention-grabbing tracks, the 4 here being a great exhibition of that. It's Skull Vault by Calcium. This is pure ravenous, savage dubstep cut in the best way, with a lot of cheeky musicality to go with it, bouncy beats, unreal hype factor, which I suppose is Calcium summed up in a way. So much clever production here, the interplay between beat and what lays on top, and it never feels OTT, in spite of a lot of the main sounds feeling quite raspy and scratchy. All the elements blend together so effectively. Runs a risk at points of coming across as quite samey, but I appreciate the consistency in sound throughout. Having said that, will be interesting to see where he takes his sound in the next decade. Alright, breaking into the top 10. Someone who proved themselves once again to have one of, if not the most exuberant production style in heavy dubstep music. Someone who's had an amazing year all round. That person is Subtronics and the EP is Cyclops Army. Pure energy, flavour, colour, so incredibly vibrant and sweet on the ear, in spite of it being so gnarly. Always wants to put in that extra sound and go that step further, and it's welcomed, Jesse, I can assure you of that. A lot of fantastic ideas here, all 4 tunes have a moment that completely takes you off your seat, in my opinion, and which I'm not sure you could find anywhere else from any other producer, anything even remotely like it. From this year, I have to say. I must say, no one track here that I love from start to finish, each one lacking the glue to really push them forward, and the EP as a whole, if you will, but more than enough really, really good knockout material to place it firmly in the top 10. Okay, number 9. Another that I'm enjoying a fair bit more than I did originally. When I reviewed it in full, I think I dwelled a little bit too much on how different it sounded from his stuff in previous years, and I shouldn't have done that. I've realised over time how much good it has to offer. Temanite with Unstoppable. There's so much feeling to this one, oh my word. I mean, what do you expect? You know, classic Temanite, but he just doesn't stop delivering on that front. The ambition with the instrumentation, once again, is off the chart as well. Some of the best moments, in my opinion, as well, across the 4 tunes here from the whole year. Drops in the title track and Break Free, vocals in all of them pretty much. The solo sections that we get in their different forms, it's just so much going on. Track 3, Believe, I'm not that big on besides the vocal, but the wealth of incredible material here littered across it makes it a definite top 10. The message of it as well, so empowering, so yeah, melodic bro step, pretty much at its finest. Okie dokie, number 8. Sometimes you have EPs where the vibe can be so great from start to finish, without necessarily having a standout tune, the way that it flows and swings from one song to another being what makes you go back to it again and again. One of those is 4 on the Floor by Nitty Gritty. Another here that I didn't expect to like so much, but I haven't stopped bumping it since it came out in July. So easy to get into, makes me move with a purpose and groove, and that just says it all really. A lot of sticky stuff here, latching onto you. Production is well formed and punchy. A lot of the ideas are really clever. Most of the time it just knows exactly what to do to lure you in. All the flashy little touches, a couple of moments here and there that really don't work, but the good stuff is so nice on the ear that placing it in this position just wasn't even a question. An EP that I love going back to get that fix. Says it all really. Moving on from there, number 7. A collection that some would call an album, but I'm calling it an EP because technically it's 5 tracks from the original producer and you wouldn't call it an album of theirs, but anyway, it's pretty great. Sudden Death, Void, Volume 1.5. With this EP, Danny plunged us further into the Void world, which is exactly what we were looking for. Whether anyone will be able to create a world in the darkest depths of dubstep music again like this, I'm not so sure. So much of it is very carefully assembled, working towards having this all-conquering, monstrous, haunting feel, overpowering you, a nightmare from which there is no escape. It also showed him branching into other genres, more drawn out, less immediate types of delivery. No songs I love completely here, couple of remixes I'm not big on, but so much good here. I cannot stress that enough. Righty-ho, number 6. Now, it's not often that a label compilation really hits right, considering it's a load of different producers involved. Helped here, in this one perhaps, by the fact that there are far fewer than usual, just 7 on show, less chance of going wrong, I suppose. It's Alchemy Volume 4 by the Confession label. To put it simply, I've been in love with this collection for the whole year. Every song I really enjoy in some way or another, some more so than others, but the energy throughout is absolutely spot on. Dark, energetic house surging through your body. So many great ideas as well, both bass lines and stuff layered on top. The vibe is just so on point pretty much from beginning to end. They're all catchy and infectious in some way. The track listing, I think, plays a big part as well. An extremely solid compilation and mile and away the best one I heard this year. Of that, there is no question. Here we are, the top 5. Easily the most out there and abstract project here. One that divides opinion, but I think once you click with it, it really is quite an exceptional listen. Icon by EPROM. The mix of influences again here, like longtime collaborator G Jones, who I talked of before, absolutely maddening, from garage to glitch, industrial, D&B, hints of dubstep, an absolute whirlwind experience and a lot to take in. Definitely takes a few goes to really get used to and what it has to offer, but when you do, when you realise what a piece of art it is, it just really delivers in so many ways. An incredible collage of ideas that we get across the 5 tunes here. The journey it goes along as well, from blisteringly manic to soothing and back again. The detail of the production with so much going on. One of those that you struggle to put into words. I tried in my full review of it, but I'm not sure I quite got there. One, again, I wish had come out earlier in the year, so I could have gotten more used to it. Would probably be pushing for the top spot. Still moments for me that drag a bit that I'm yet to iron out in my enjoyment of it. But yeah, so good. At number 4, the EP that I like to say reintroduced me to rhythm music. Such was the impact it had on me through its take on that format. A truly compelling listen, one I've enjoyed so much. Labyrinth by Akios. This is one of the only EPs from this year where I've liked every song a fair amount, some more so than others. I think I prefer the first half more generally here, but as a whole it's so good. The animation of it, the way it's cut, all the elements of surprise, it just has you locked in for pretty much the whole thing. Always keeps it interesting, so powerful, incredibly gutsy production. It's mysterious and alluring on top of that. Loads of memorable moments as well beyond the dubstep, the vocals in tracks like Tripolar Dub and Duel, the introduction of Labyrinth. So many touches that always keep your attention, and that is what makes it such a well-rounded project overall. I like every tune a lot for what it is, and it's so cleverly put together. Couple of moments where it could have done with a little bit more flavour just to keep it ticking along a little bit more, but it reignited my love for rhythm music above all. Really is fantastic. Okay, taking the bronze medal, the return we didn't know we needed, I think. A duo who come out of nowhere every now and then to release a bounty of really well-formed ideas to the public. And you are guessing who it could be in your head. Who could it be, I wonder? It's Turn Off the Lights by Dogblood. This EP delivered in so many ways. A lot of memorable music here across the 4 tunes that made us fall in love with them all over again. It's such an awesome style that they've created here. Really well produced as well, I hasten to add. And when you think about the fact that these two just got together for a few days earlier in the year to cook this EP up, it's quite mad what they came up with. I could be wrong, but I feel like it must be difficult to transfer suddenly from your usual production style to this one, far more outlandish, free-spirited, and primal than what they do individually. But maybe that's the key to it, you know, maybe because it's so different that it's easier to produce, you know, who knows. But anyway, back to the EP. What I love about it is the way that each track stands alone. Aside from that general animalistic, tribal feel, they're all of a different genre and approach. It's just so raw, genuine, honest, upfront. Ideas on every song that are properly flavoursome, wild, exotic, and really get you in the mood as well, with also some of the best tracks in it of this year, in my opinion. Long live Skrillex and Boys Noise. Coming in at number 2, we have probably the most ambitious EP I heard this year, considering what we are used to from this producer, someone who has proved himself year on year to be one of the best in bass music, no question. And that producer is Eliminate with Cyberwhale. It isn't a small thing branching out into so many different genres for an almost entirely trap producer, but here we get outright brostep, house, rhythm. On top of that, the ambition here is pretty huge. Not just that, but every song has something really good about it, and there are even a few tracks that I love completely from start to finish, which is what puts it above others below it here. All the vocals are really well suited to their respective instrumentals, the production across the board, whatever the genre is so clean, almost overwhelming at points, it's so defined. Always managing to root it in darkness as well, in spite of the wealth of joyous, bright material we get here. It can't be easy finding that balance, but Eliminate does so very well here. I've seen Eliminate tutorials and the craft that goes into constructing his tunes. All these squeaky, bubbly, thinned out sounds just makes me love the EP and his style generally even more. Shout out must also go to his Dead Sea EP, another fantastic one, but just about edged out by Cyberwhale. I thought about tying them for a bit, but no, this one, Cyberwhale, has that little bit of extra class to it to put it firmly in this position. But at number 1, my favourite EP from the whole of bass music in 2019, an EP that I wouldn't have expected to put in this position at the start of the year, but at the same time, now that I have done so, I'm really not that surprised at all. But I wonder whether you guys know what it could be by this point, having watched the whole video so far. What could it be? It's Shit Volume 1 by Marauder. I really doubt I'll ever come across another producer doing a particular approach so often, and it never getting boring in any way. That for me is what this EP is about. His usually gargantuan, big room tear-out sound, but layered with a lot more than it has been in previous years. This showed a leveling up on his production, no doubt. I think he really doubled down on making his ideas more memorable across the stretch of an EP, as opposed to just having one or a few over one given collection. Moreover, I think he showed his melodic prowess more so than ever, with some incredible introductions, but really, I think in all aspects, this EP is pretty melodically on point. The atmosphere is even larger, more vacuous than before, and it was the start of him truly experimenting with Cthulhu, the directional awareness of it. It's so complete in feel, bringing so much together in the process, and it's always been difficult for me writing reviews of his EPs in the best way, because there is just so much going on, all the changes it goes through. For what it is, in my opinion, just does everything that you want it to do. Every tune is so effective and to the point, and as a project of improvement and overall excellence, I don't really see a better one this year, can't lie. And so there we have it, guys, for the third video in the 2019 Yearly Favourites Week, my top 25 EPs of 2019. Thank you very much, and as always, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a comment with your thoughts on my list, but also with your favourite EPs of this year. What are your picks from 2019? I want to know them all. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell along the way so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video to the channel, and my social media accounts are linked in the description box down below. These are things you're going to want to do in order to keep up with what's going on the channel this week. Got top singles to come on Sunday, remixes and albums are already up. Make sure you're locked in for all of that. And lastly, if it's naughty, then you know, guys, so be sure, as always, to keep it naughty and stay safe. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one, the top 50 singles, 50 in bass music from this year, out on Sunday. Peace out.